Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Just getting something here I need that I have not done today. I hope everybody has had a great Saturday so far. So I'm sure you have. Hey, Rosie. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I wanted to put up this picture so that you all don't forget the fact that when it comes to these tariffs, they're taxes on the American people. They're taxes on the American people that Donald Trump implemented. We're forced to pay more and get less because the president of the United States wants to bully people, you know? But that's what tariff taxes are. They're taxes on us. Where we are paying more for things just because the president is trying to, he thinks that he can use this as a negotiation tactic to force people to do the things that he wants them to do. But see, life ain't that simple. You know what I'm saying? It's really not that simple. He would like to think it is. And they also want you to forget, especially conservatives, the Trump administration, they want you to forget that tariffs are a tax on American families. Just remember that. When you go to the grocery store, when you order stuff online, and you're noticing the prices have increased so much, that is a direct result of governing by the Trump administration, by Donald Trump. I told you all, the first Trump, see, people didn't realize this. Trump 1, you didn't really get Donald Trump all the way. The Republican Party, the old school Republican Party, was still around. And they had a huge influence on his first presidency. This second presidency, right, is all Trump. That's why it's bad economic policy. You saw what he did with his businesses. I don't know why Americans expected him to do anything better with their wallet. Yeah, I've already got my first block. Bye. Some people talking about buy American made. First of all, most Americans could never afford to buy American made. Imagine if an iPhone was made in America. You couldn't afford to buy it. That's just the truth. Americans don't make enough money to buy American-made products. You make enough money to buy products made in other countries and import it into America. That's what you make enough money for. If you want to buy made in America products, well, it would require your employer to pay you more. And guess what? American employers don't want to pay more. They want to pay the least amount of money possible to you. Period. You saw that. That was quick. I guess they thought they was going to get to stay. Not with me. I pay attention to the comments in my live. Yeah, Rosie, I'm like, you're not coming here with that. If that's what you believe, you know, that's why when I saw him, I said, if that's what he believes, he needs to go inside of a live that believes the same thing. You don't have to be here with us. But what I've learned to do, hey, Jess, good afternoon, beautiful. What I have learned to do is not give space to people to say things like that. See, too many people validated that type of shit. I don't validate it because I think it's foolishness. So guess what? I just don't validate it. If that's what you believe, you can believe whatever you want. But you just, in my space, I don't allow communication of that. And they get mad. Why won't you let me say that? You can say whatever you want. You just don't get to say whatever you want in my environment. That's the T. That's the catch that I think a lot of conservatives forget about. You don't get to say whatever you want when you want to say it when you don't control the environment, right? You don't get to do that. So that's why I said, pay attention, America. Pay attention. Because guess what? Things are going to get more and more expensive for you. It's not about to get cheaper. Ask yourself how much money you actually have to afford to continue to pay America more and get less. Like, how far can you really afford to go? Is my question that I ask a lot of people. How far can you really afford to go? How much are you really, really willing to risk for this type of stuff? That's the $100 million question. First, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. I want to thank you for joining me. That's the first thing. Happy Saturday. Thank you so much. Deborah, I'm relaxed. You should go make a sandwich. Bye, Deborah. You can't come in here with that, Deborah. You can't come in here with that, beloved. You had a cute sweater on, though, in your avatar. Because two things can be true. I can think your sweater is cute, and I can think you deserve to be blocked. Hey, Christina. The stock market is so on fire. Yeah, but you don't have any money. You're still broke. Bye. You got 9 followers. I guess you were mad I blocked your other account. I'm going to block that one too. Bye. See, we quick over here. Y'all used to going in spaces and being able to just talk and communicate. No, not here. Make your own little space. Go communicate all your stuff that you want to. No one's stopping you. No one's stopping you. Okay? I was reading something that I saw. So first of all, thank you all. Like I said again, because I happened to catch something as I was saying this. Thank you all for joining me this afternoon. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All I'm asking you to do is tap that like button for me because it helps to boost my live so much. And hit the copy link button. You don't even have to share it to anybody, but that counts as a share. And it helps TikTok understand that, it's something that's interesting for the For You page. So thank you all so much for that today. I appreciate it. Want to tell you about a couple things, of course, that's happening. We all know that Trump's supposed to meet with Vladimir Putin on the 15th in Alaska, right? To talk about his war, the war with Ukraine, that Russia has with Ukraine. And Zelensky has already rejected any peace deals because, one, Ukraine's not even a part of that meeting. And two, Ukraine has no interest in giving up land to Vladimir Putin. If you give him land, then you've essentially validated what he did. No. Trump want that Nobel Peace Prize so bad, you're not going to get it, beloved. You can't be a crisis agent and expect a Nobel Peace Prize. Those two things don't work together. You can buy, and see, understand, rich people, when they have a lot of money, they think they can buy anything. Anything, okay? So he's upset that he ain't been able to buy a Nobel Peace Prize yet. Y'all got to understand, Trump thinks he can just buy that. I haven't checked out the People's Sick Day movement yet, Amber. I'll check into that. But I'll tell people it has to stop at more than a sick day. You have to be willing to boycott with your wallet. Hey, Russ. Hey, handsome. You have to be willing to boycott with your wallet. The problem is Americans don't be willing to do that. They talk a lot of stuff, but they'll think about it. Apple CEO went and gave Trump that gift the other day in the White House. I can tell you, ain't many people who own Apple products who looking to get off of them. They hooked on them. See, that's the other problem. They're hooked on them. And they're willing to sacrifice their morals and their character and all that shit just to have an iPhone. So understand, if you're not sickened by what the CEO of the person that owns your telephone, manufactures your telephone, did, you should be. I'm going to tell you why I would be concerned. Apple talks so much shit about privacy and how they protect your privacy, but yet he up there shucking and jiving for the president. You understand? I told y'all cell phones love to listen to you. They're that thing that's constantly surveilling and providing information, right? They're that thing. They're that thing. And you it doesn't bother you that the CEO of the company that manufactures your cell phone is there playing footsies with the president? It would bother me. It would bother me, especially knowing that they've just been gathering data. And see, understand, rich people want so bad to make money, they'll do bad things just to make money. Remember, when Trump came back in, oh, he don't need our money, this, that, and the other. Why would rich people steal? Rich people steal? What make you think rich people don't steal? Of course they steal. A lot of how they make money is doing nefarious shit. That's a lot of how they make money. It feels so delicious to boot MAGA. Got another one. He came in loud. Oh, Democrats this. Shut up. Shut up. Your party is protecting people who don't protect children. Shut up. All of that righteous shit, y'all been exposed. Y'all not racist. You don't have shit to stand on. No morals, no character, no none of that. Because when it's time to protect children, y'all, look, I'm going to show you. This is MAGA these days. Hold on, let me find that image. This is MAGA. Y'all ain't trying to look at them Epstein files. Y'all really don't want to see them Epstein files. Oh, no, we can't do that either. And listen, I'm not into oxymorons. What you can't do is call yourself big sexy and then I look at the profile and be mad. That's what I can't do. You understand? That's just false advertising, right? That's just false advertising. That wasn't okay. I did all of that and, and got all disappointed. I'm like, wait a minute. We just big. Ain't no sexy there. I told y'all, stop false advertising in them profiles. Because I'll boot you just on that. I can't trust nothing else you say if you already lying in that profile. You just saw the food stamp freeze had people leaving groceries in their cart. You know what? I hope that those carts that are being left are in red states. They voted for this. Fuck them people. You know what I would do? I would go, those people who get the food assistance but voted for Trump but can't buy this stuff, I would go and eat Haagen-Dazs ice cream right next to them in line. And I'm lactose intolerant. Because I can afford to buy Haagen-Dazs. You understand? I'd be like, oh, wow, this Haagen-Dazs is delicious. I love me some Bluebell. Maybe I should bake a cake today. Yeah, I think I'll bake a cake. Listen, I ain't trying. They're going to really feel it when they want to buy Lunchables for their child and can't buy their child a Lunchable. Oh, that's going to be grand. You better get your ass in there and make sandwiches like we used to do when we grew up. Hey, dude, our parents used to make us a lunch and put it in a brown paper bag. Stop playing with it. That's what we had growing up. It wasn't extra fancy. We didn't have Lunchables. Our mama made the Lunchables. Like what? You had a sandwich. It was either peanut butter and jelly or it was bologna and cheese. You understand? But there were no Lunchables. Your parents just made the lunch or you made the lunch. You put it in a simple brown paper bag or lunch pail and you took your ass to school. You took your ass to school. So all these parents who think that they've been parenting by buying your children Lunchables because you don't make the lunch, but you the same people that voted for Trump, oh, you're going to have a tough time adjusting to this, beloved. You're going to have a tough time. First, because you were a socialist and you didn't even know it. See, dude, you remember, had to make your own lunch and your dad's lunch. Listen, I remember. Ooh, I remember those toasted peanut butters. Ooh, you taking me back, Lionel. I remember those toasted peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Because they would be warm and they would have the peanut butter and jelly. Listen, but now kids get Lunchables. They get the Lunchables now. You know why they get Lunchables? Because their parents are working all the time. They don't really have time to raise children. Think about it. In America now, most American families having children, your children are accessible to the world more than they're accessible to you. Because you're working all the time just so you can pay bills. You're not living extravagant. You're working just to survive, right? You're working just to survive. You ain't doing nothing more than that, just to survive. So media's raising your children. Entertainment's raising your children because you got to work. You got to work. You might have to work multiple jobs, but that's what the system wants because the system wanted you to have kids to create more worker bees. They need more factory workers. They need more people to populate private prisons. That's why they want you to have children, right? I say this, that's why they want you to have children you can't afford. Boom. Children you can't afford to raise properly. Think about it. If the school system's shit, you working all the time, you ain't got time to raise your child, all these other factors, what you think that's going to end well? That's not going to end well. That's a recipe for disaster. Literally. Yep. That's why they're shaming people for not working. They want to indoctrinate the kids. They would rather your children, right? They would rather your children work for pennies on the dollar, right? And convince your child to work for slave wages than for you to convince your own child. Hell no, you worth more than that. That's the system trying to eat you up. See, remember when we were raised, your parents they supposed to want better for you than they had for themselves. But what happened is somewhere along the way, Boomer said, nah, fuck that. We want everything. We want all the money. We want all the resources. And we're going to use government Even though government helped us get to where we are, we're going to turn around and mess up that government and make it hard for everybody else. Y'all need to pay attention. And I see your point, Christiane, about the church group. The funny thing about the schooling, people forget. See, this is the thing. Folks forget about it, man. At one time, there was no Head Start. See, Americans are so fucking spoiled. They forgot when they didn't have something. You know what I mean? You forgot. Head Start wasn't always around. There wasn't always a pre-K. There was a kindergarten, and then you just keep going. So before that kindergarten, it was all on the parents to figure out, right, how they were going to parent and raise their child and educate their child prior to going to kindergarten. And then by the time a lot of kids got into kindergarten, that's when the school systems realized these kids were behind. See, 5 is too long to wait to try to teach a child something. That's too long. You got too many parents that really don't teach their child shit. Why? Because the parents not very well educated either. That we got to be honest about it. The American education system is not good system. Say, it's not good. It's designed to keep kids now just kind of competent, but not too competent to take nothing over. You understand? If you want your kid to be educated, you got to do the extra. You can't do just enough to get by. You have to do the extra. When we were in school, we were taught to think. We were taught to ask questions. We were taught to challenge the system, quiet as kept. Them 80s and 90s, you was taught to challenge everything and to request proof. Without proof, and you were taught how to validate if that proof was real proof or propaganda. Now kids don't even know the difference between real and AI. Why? They haven't been taught any critical thinking skills. They haven't been taught the ability to look at something and know if it's real or not. They have no idea. We were taught that. We were the last generation that were ultimately really taught that. Imagine sending children out into the world and they become young adults and they don't know the difference between critical thinking, and you got all these predators after them. They want their money. Get them signed up for predatory loans, signed up for low-wage jobs. Yeah, all of this shit is designed to keep people poor. Rich people don't like the middle class. Rich people like poor people. You understand? Rich people like poor people, but rich people don't like the middle class. Yep, we had to research 3 sources for information, but you had to show proof of your information. You couldn't just say something. Even if you submitted a paper to school, you had to have proof. What do they say? Annotated bibliography, anyone? You had to. You're right, Christiane. They're trying to push women to having babies. This is why I tell women, if you want to change your government, stop being intimate with men. I told you this earlier. Stop being intimate with men. You know why? Because men are going to approach government and say to government, ho, wait a minute. Whatever y'all doing is impacting my social life. Whatever government is doing is impacting my social life. I can't engage with women the way I want to because women are telling me they don't like the fact that they can't make their own decisions with their own body. And so because they can't make their own decisions, the couple of decisions they can make is to refrain from certain interactions with men, so they ain't even got to have this problem with government. You see? That's how you do that. Oh, your coworker and you were talking about, yeah, Oscar, y'all got to be having these conversations amongst yourselves. I'm telling you, the more you start having conversations with people, even people that voted for this shit, they start to go, wait a minute, maybe this wasn't so smart. It wasn't smart. It wasn't. But it's going to take a while for certain people to catch on to that. And there are a lot of people that's going to have to lose a lot before they're willing to let go. You know, you said, can you have a couple of minutes about critical thinking and what my daughter did? Yeah, dude, if you want to share something, I can let you up to share that. Just let me know when you're ready. I was born in 75 too, Vonetta. Yep. And we had to know stuff. You couldn't just say you were smart. You had to prove it. You had to prove it. People now, the reason why you got a lot of children and a lot of adults, it ain't just children. Their parents too aren't that smart either, right? But they got participation trophies. And they were always made to feel like they were great. They knew everything, all this other stuff. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. This is also why they crash out when they don't get the shit that they want, because they've never really been told who they really are. You're mediocre. You're mediocre. That's why I laugh at everybody getting upset about, a lot of people being upset about immigration, because I go, you're upset about immigration, but guess what? You got to deal with the issue. Mediocrity is the issue you need to deal with. Stopping immigration is not going to stop your ass from being mediocre if you ain't doing the work. Thank you, Maud. I was on my way to getting them. They thought they was doing something. And let me see what dude is. All right, dude. I'm bringing you up so you can talk about the critical thinking piece real quick. Hey, dude. Good afternoon.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay. Afternoon first, but I thought you would appreciate this story. So my kids both went to Catholic school.
Okay.
Couldn't have paid for it if it was not through my in-laws and the church itself. They subsidized like 90% of it. So in third grade, she is in class and she goes up to her, and they're talking about whatever. But she goes up to her teacher and asks, okay, if the Bible is real and the first man and woman were Adam and Eve and they had 2 boys, how did they get married? Because according to the Bible, those were the only 2 people. 2 boys can't have a child, and one of them killed the other. So how did population happen? And the teacher just looked at her terrified, did not know how to respond, and said, well, ask Monsignor, I won't say his name, but Monsignor, really good guy with a horrible Trump comb over. I love the guy, but it's bad. Anyway, he said, the Bible is not the only story. It is only one story following one family. And my daughter came home that day and told me, and I just looked at her and I'm like, you're in third grade. Oh my God. You are the brightest third grader I have ever met in my entire life. And you keep living the life, girl.
Yep. That's a child that understands they should ask questions. Yep. And I bet you she still asks questions. She still asks why.
All the time.
Boom.
So I'm done, but thank you. I just wanted to share that because I know that
no problem.
This has gone through a couple of times, and I giggle and I think of that story and I go, critical thinking is the absolute thing that we should teach our children, our friends, our family, everybody. Always question and say, that doesn't quite make sense.
Yep.
And she's still there. And hell, I think most of us are.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. Oh, I got to deal with reporter Ron. Ron is mad because we're talking about the Bible. He reported us for that. No free speech in conservative circles, I guess.
Oh, okay. Well, bye, Ron.
You're bye, Ron. But that critical thinking piece, I think sometimes, too, the reason why critical thinking is not seen as a good thing, and a lot of adults don't want to teach it to children, because children will ask them questions, and a lot of adults don't want to be honest and say, I don't know. They don't want to tell their children, I really don't know the answer to that. You're smarter than me right now. I'm okay with my kid being smarter than me in moments like, wow, you're thinking about things I wasn't even thinking about at that age. That's amazing.
I want my children to be smarter than me.
Yeah. I never understand the people who are upset by that.
I want them to be smarter. I want them to get better at whatever they choose to do.
Yep.
and support whatever they want to do, whether it's family or no family, you know? Yeah, I want grandkids one day, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm only 53, so I'll wait a little bit,
You got
please God.
time.
But, you know, whatever they want to do, whatever their path is, I want them to do the best that they can be at whatever their path is. It's not
Right.
about me. It's not about their dad. It's not about their brother or their cousins. It's about them and how they are going to benefit themselves and the world.
Yep. That's what a lot of parents forget. A lot of parents are so caught up in, you know, I don't, again, I don't want to be challenged because everything, a lot of times too, as we get older, we start to realize some of the things that we were taught weren't good things. You know what I mean? And sometimes people have a tough time coming to accept that. Like, damn, a lot of the things I was taught wasn't the right stuff. That's okay. We live and we learn. You learn that some of these things weren't good things. And you go from there and you learn that it's like a new way. Well, I don't like that new math. I was about to say that new math. I ain't really a fan of that new math. To me, it's just easier to do. Well, let me say, I don't have nothing against PEMDAS, but I feel like sometimes the system and processes that they took these children through these days in order to get them to think differently, they call it critical thinking. I call it critical confusion because it wasn't giving them more critical thinking skills, more so than it was causing children to do more work, but it's not causing them to think deeper. I didn't see it that way. At least when I would help my youngest, and y'all excuse me, look, I'm having an episode. When I would help my youngest do her homework, because by the time the youngest came through, they were really pushing this new way of doing things. I'm not saying that some of this new way of doing things isn't helpful, but I do think the big key thing, hold on, dude, I gotta meet you real quick. One of the big key things that people forget about is when we were growing up, especially in math class, you had to show your work. You could not turn in math work without scrap paper. You had to show how you did the work because your teacher was going to comb through your scrap paper and see how you're coming up with those answers. And then your teacher can give you more clarity into how you might have went right or went wrong in doing that math. Now kids don't turn in scrap paper. I remember when my oldest, when she was getting into some of those math classes, and I was like, hold up, where your scrap paper at? She's like, oh, I don't have to turn it in. I'm like, oh, that's crazy work. How does your teacher even understand that you know how to do the work if you don't have to turn in the scrap paper? I never understood that. Yeah, and right, and we had to do it without a calculator. These kids get a calculator like in elementary school. We didn't get no calculators. You had to know how to do your own work. Yep, and we also, you're right, Lola, you were taught to check your work too. That helps develop critical thinking skills. It does. But instead now, what did they start doing? They started saying, oh, well, we want to start focusing more on this and more on that. It's like, listen, you can focus on certain things. Kids need to be reading more. Kids don't read enough books. When we were growing up, we were reading books all the time. We used to have, remember y'all, having contests in school for who read the most books? Kids don't even have that no more. They don't even have that no more. I don't even think they have multiplication table competitions no more. I still remember as a kid having this multiplication table toy where it had the multiplication table and I could press the different number combinations and get answers because you had to memorize that shit. You had to know the multiplication chart by heart and you were tested on it. You were tested on it. You couldn't say you knew your multiplication tables. Your teacher gave tests on it. You had to know that. You had to know different parts of a sentence. Think back to your education and compare it against what you may have seen with your own children's education. You had to know parts of a sentence. You had to know what a verb was, an adjective, a noun, a pronoun. You had to know all that shit. You had to. One of the first things you learned in elementary school was parts of a sentence. so that you would properly know how to construct a sentence. Think about it. You had to learn proper use of a comma, proper use of a colon, proper use of a semicolon. Man, I remember time tests. We had to learn cursive. Most of these kids now, think about it, they have horrible handwriting. And you know why they do? Because they don't have to learn that stuff in school no more. That's why they have bad handwriting. They claim it's because they want the kids to spend more time on XYZ, but the problem is, even the stuff that the kids spend time on, those of us who went to school back in the day still know better than them. I remember diagramming a sentence, Vonetta, because we had tests on it. That's why I'm like, I don't understand how I get why kids don't know parts of a sentence, because they don't have the work that we do. I would teach my kids those things. I would go, back when my kids were in school, I could still go sit in their classroom. You see, y'all can't sit in their classrooms like we could. See, we could sit in their classrooms still. You're very welcome, dude. We could sit in their classrooms still. Back then. So the stuff that their teachers didn't teach, oh, I would teach that shit at home, because I go, listen, we used to learn this. I bought Schoolhouse Rock for my children. The DVDs for Schoolhouse Rock. Because I grew up on Schoolhouse Rock. I remember the 5 W's so sexy. Who, what, when, where, and why. Come on, stop playing with me. That stuff is what we learned way back then. Way back then. I remember Fraggle Rock. I used to love me so. Down in Fraggle Rock, the kids will know nothing about the great times that we had. Down in Fraggle Rock, let me stop. Listen. Don't play with me. I remember all of this stuff. You had to know current events. I remember all of this stuff. That's why I said these children now, they've been robbed of this, because the rich people don't want your children to have critical thinking skills. They don't want your kids to think deep, because they want workers. They want worker bees. That's what they want. See, when your children have critical thinking skills, they're not just inclined just to do anything. They'll ask why. They'll challenge things. See what I'm saying? When people don't challenge stuff, they just go along to get along and accept it as normal. And that's how people that are rich and powerful, they win. Yep. That defunding in the 90s and the 2000s was on purpose. When George Bush said no child left behind, he's right. He didn't leave no child left behind. He left every single one of them. Because the goal was to create a new class of children that would turn into adults that lack critical thinking skills and lack the ability to challenge the system. See, we were challengers of a system because we were taught to challenge it. And they don't want our children competing with their children. Because see, understand, this is the thing. If you were raised in certain environments, you understand that education is the key to freedom and creating the life that you want. I always tell people, rich people know this too. This is why they force their children to get education. You don't believe me? Okay, remember Aunt Becky from Full House when she got caught trying to do that stuff to get her daughter into college, and her daughter didn't even want to go to college? But see, rich people have an understanding of the importance of education. They understand education. They was like, listen, you need to go to college. Her daughter wanted to do social media. But in their social circles, being able to brag on what school your child goes to and what their future is bigly important. Not what their child bought. What their child knows is important to rich people. Because they got the money to buy whatever they want. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. You understand? They don't even care about that. They care about what their kids... for example, I just booted another one. For example, one of the reasons why I look at working class people and I go, y'all so caught up, especially the ones who are MAGA. They're so caught up in holding up Donald Trump. Rich people ain't doing that like that. They use their money to do it, but they're not spending all their time trying to hold up Trump. They making money. They getting educations. That's what they doing. Working class people are online fighting for rich people. In the streets fighting for rich people. Rich people ain't in the streets fighting for you. They're making no sacrifices and investing no time and worried about your fucking life or mine. They getting education and they making money. So ask yourself why you so pressed to tow water for rich folk when you still poor. Maybe it gives you a distraction where you don't have to think about the quality of your life because you can focus on what rich people are doing. But at the end of you focusing on rich people, you'll still be poor. You'll still be poor. So that's why I'm asking the question, what's more important to you? What's more important to you? That's why my children and I, they're young adults, but we talk about politics a lot because I want them to understand what they're looking at. I want them to understand what propaganda looks like because mama won't always be here. So you still need to understand what propaganda looks like. My mother used to have those conversations with us. She used to talk about politics and have us to talk about what do you think the impact of that policy might be on your life, on your community? You know? But folks don't want to have those conversations because they think if they don't have them, it won't impact them. That ain't how that shit works. You know why so many people so sexy be worried about melanin people? Because, and not just melanin people, you see this, so many people worried about immigration. They think if they have less competition, that somehow, some way their life will get better. No, it won't. I keep telling folks, your life isn't going to get better because you're considered to be mediocre. Exceptional people, their life will get better. There are a lot of exceptional Americans. It's just a whole bunch of mediocre Americans. You understand? And mediocrity has been encouraged over the last several decades in America to be loud, indignant, think they know it. For some strange reason, they think the louder they talk, the more right they are. That's not what that means. It just means you're loud. It's like somewhere along the way, knowing real information stopped being important to people. As long as they're loud and passionate and sound like they know what they're talking about, that's been enough for people to follow behind them. And that's because people don't know information. They're not reading books. They're not learning history. See, if you learn your history, then they can't run the same game on you. Oh, you took your grandkids to the voting booth. That's what I always did with my kids very early on, showing them this is what a ballot looks like. My kids and I, we still go to the voting booth together and have conversations together. Even long before we get to the voting, when they start sending the ballots to your house in preparation for elections, I'm discussing things with my children. Okay, these are the people that are on the ballot. And it's not a discussion of I'm going to tell you who to vote for. I'm going to tell you who these people are, what their initiatives are, and let's discuss what you think is best for you and your community and your life. And every time the decision comes to that it ain't Republicans. It's just not Republicans. Thank you so much, Lisa. That's what you do. Because it was just like I told y'all with my mom when it came to religion. My mother was a hardcore Christian. She wasn't radical with it, but she was a hardcore Christian. I'm not a Christian. I'm a Buddhist. But my mother did not allow us to be baptized as children. She said, no. See, the thing is, your pathway to God is your pathway to God. However you get there and reach your enlightenment or figure out your purpose and all that, that's your pathway. That's not mine. So I'm not going to force you to go my path. This is my path. What I will do is expose you. And then from there, you can figure out which way you're going to go. I'm not surprised MAGA took their kids to rallies because, again, y'all got to remember, for a lot of people, Donald Trump made people feel like they belonged to something, that their voices were heard. Think about it. If you lack critical thinking skills, if you lack the ability to have discernment, right? Think about it. Then being in certain circles is going to make you feel a little inadequate, a little less than. Trump emboldened a lot of people, made them feel smart. And they hadn't felt smart since like first or second grade and shit. This shit it felt amazing to them. You understand? It felt amazing to them. You know? Amazing. I'm sorry, beloved. I had to boot you because you stuttering saying the same thing. We saw your post. We saw you say that same thing like 4 or 5 times. Bye-bye. I don't allow that in here. I have to cut that off, or we can't do that in here. But a lot of this goes back to a lot of parents are inadequate, and they had children. A lot of people had children, and they're inadequate, mediocre ass people. And not only are they inadequate, they don't want their kids to be smarter than them. Because their children being smarter than them exposes that they're not that smart, and they don't like that feeling. So they want their kids to get they're okay with their kids not getting what they got. They're okay with that. Thank you, Phil. They're okay with that. I wasn't raised like that. I was raised by parents who wanted better for me than what they had. Somewhere along the line, a couple generations ago, parents ain't like that no more. These fucking parents have no problem with their children having less than them. Don't believe me? These same parents will look at when their children say, it's so hard out here. We can't afford a home. We can't afford this and we can't afford that. What their parents say? Keep trying. Work harder. It's not the system, it's you. Because their parents are still caught up in yesteryear. And their parents are fucking selfish. They don't have a desire to make the system better for their children. The parents are living their best damn life. They were able to get a reverse mortgage on their home. And they traveling and they doing whatever they want to do. They living the life they were up until Trump 2 came along. When Trump's second term came along and he messing up healthcare and all this other stuff. Well, now these old people are going to have to use that reverse mortgage money on their health care. Boom. Can't use government money no more. See, that's socialism. And y'all say y'all not socialists. Y'all say y'all not socialists. And government agrees now. Government says since you can get a reverse mortgage, sell your house or get a reverse mortgage and use your reverse mortgage money to pay your medical bills. Or even better yet, your family is responsible for you. So all of you understand your parents vote for this shit, but then you're responsible for taking care of them. That's how the government looks at it. Just so you know, as long as you got kids that's functioning out here, your government is going to be looking at your children to provide for you then. And I'm looking at the children going, you going to provide for your parents after your parents didn't leave shit for you? They left nothing for you. The system is crushing you. The system is crushing you. That's why I say wake up, y'all. You got to think. You got to pay attention to what's happening right now. You have to. Yep, they give the money and then they take it back. They give the money and that's all they keep doing. Whoa, you had to go to ER and your copay went up. Oh, wow, $100. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. It's bad out and it's going to get worse. Hope. That's the crazy thing. We just think about it. Trump ain't even been in office a year. Folks ain't really felt these policies yet. And understand, Republicans also put some timing in them, right? So that certain things don't kick in till after the midterms. That way, if Democrats win the midterms, they can say, look, Democrats did this to you. Now, one, you need to be smart enough to remember who did it to you. Like, okay, I'm going to give y'all a great example. When you file your taxes, I can't speak for y'all, but taxes are tearing my ass up. That's that Trump tax plan. That's not Joe Biden. That's that Trump tax plan. Joe Biden never had a tax plan that passed. But Trump had a tax plan. And our tax cuts expired. That's why our taxes started getting all funky and nasty. And constantly owing. No matter how much you pay, the federal government is still like, I want more money. Give me more money. Give me more money. You know why? Because rich people don't want to pay. Rich people don't want to pay. If they made rich people pay their fair share, you wouldn't have to spend all your money on that shit. But get this, the funny part. We pay the bulk of the taxes, but then rich people get to tell us what our government can and cannot give us. But they're not paying the taxes. The tax code is designed to give them a tax shelter. But somebody has to pay. So guess who that somebody is? Us. Us. We're the somebody. We have to pay. This is what y'all not catching on to. If rich people paid their money, you could have affordable housing. You could have free health care. Free job training. Free daycare. As a parent, just imagine the load that would be lifted if you had free child care. Imagine the load that would be lifted if your government paid for you for a whole year of paid maternity leave and paternity leave. So you and your mate can both be with that child for the first year of its life and make that baby your highest priority. If America cared about kids the way they say they do, but they never care about kids that much, they want your ass back to work after 6 weeks. That's how much they don't give a shit about your child. They say let daycare raise your baby. Pay attention. They don't care about us. Say it again, Kimmy. It's really 3 weeks because they really don't want to give 6. Imagine if the government gave you a guaranteed, like everybody got a universal basic income every month from the government. At bare minimum, whether you worked or not. Say you got $800 a month, $1,000 a month from the government. Imagine what you could use that money for. Now, I know some people would say, that's not right. We shouldn't be getting that kind of money. That's what you let rich people do. Rich people get it. You let rich people get PPP loans and not have to pay the money back. But all your stimulus money had to be claimed on your taxes. They got to deduct the losses from their business. They got to keep the PPP money that they got from the government. No problem, dude. Thank you so much. That they got from the government. But them couple of checks that government sent you when you was home during the pandemic, oh, you got to claim all that money, baby. They not forgiving shit. They made you claim that money. You see where I'm coming from? These people with money don't care about you. They gonna nickel and dime everything they give to you. And then when it comes to the people with money, they don't have to do all that. They're the job creators. No, they're not. You and me are job creators. Every time you spend your money and buy something that somebody created, whether it's a product or a service, you're creating the job. Not them, you're the job creator. Because you're the person you're the reason why that business even exists. I can go out and start a business tomorrow with no customers, I won't stay in business. My customers are the job creators. Because the more customers I have come in, that might require me to add more staff. They are the job creators. They are the catalyst to get me to hire more people. I don't hire more people just because. No, it's because of the customers. That's what I'm trying to get people to see. Stop letting rich people make you think, oh, you should be grateful. Grateful? You should be grateful that I work for you so you can make fucking money. What are you talking about? See, in the 90s, we used to get treated a hell of a lot better than y'all being treated by your employers right now. Employers had to lure us in, okay, with great benefits and pay. Wasn't no concept of this all we pay, we don't do it. No. I remember working jobs where on the first day of work, you get all your leave for the whole year, the first fucking day. You vested first day. Why? Because those companies, they wanted to make sure they got that talent. And in order to get the talent, they had to have great benefits. Without great benefits, your ass wasn't going to come work there. Because you had other options of other companies that had great benefits. How y'all think Google grew the way it did? Google grew the way it did because it also had benefits. They have on-site childcare for their employees. The Google campus, go research the Google campus from back in the day. Research that campus. Research AOL and all the perks they used to give their people. Research. I remember I used to work for an internet startup. I went to work for an internet startup during that tech boom, right? And all that stuff. And I went to work for an internet startup. We used to get free breakfast catered for us every morning. Sometimes we would get free lunch multiple times a week catered for us. I remember getting dollar for dollar matching in retirement fund. And instant vesting. Not no wait 5 years. You vested immediately. That's the type of money we was getting. sign-on bonuses. That's the money we were getting. Y'all don't get that because y'all have allowed these employers to act like they're more important than you. You are the resource. You are the resource. You're right, Ms. Thomas. BMI too. We had good, we were getting good stuff. Listen, ODD, those CEOs are making great money. See, I remember another internet startup I worked for that the CEO understood that we were why the company made money. And as long as they kept us happy, we would keep creating great products and services, which would allow them to make more money. So they treated us like royalty. They treated us like royalty. They gave us a flexibility. We had flexibility. We had a flex schedule. They didn't give a shit what time you came in or left, long as you worked your 8 hours. They didn't give a shit. You didn't even have to come into the office every day. They didn't care as long as you worked. They didn't care because they knew as long as they kept you happy, you were going to work. See, employers back then understood if you had flexibility, you had the ability to do what you want when you wanted, you got more out of your employee because they were happy. But when employees got to choose between their job and their family, family gonna win every time. Because for me, I was taught charity start at home and I don't live at work. Charity start at home, I don't live at work. So my kids are my highest priority, not all this other shit. My family is my highest priority. Say it again, Miss Dakota, having free lunch, but guess what? See, this is what some of y'all that work in these companies now don't understand. Our free lunch wasn't pizza. Hell, I remember getting taken to Ruth's Chris. Premium steakhouses. I remember Christmas parties that were decadent, meaning food and entertainment and libations more than the eyes can see. On top of that, they gave you prizes and money for coming to office Christmas parties. What? Now y'all come to office Christmas parties for free. I don't. They don't pay me for that shit. I don't. I come if there's going to be prizes, money. I remember working for one of the startups that I worked for. Our Christmas party every year. It was a grand event. It was the way the company thanked us again for all of our hard work. We would get cash bonuses, electronics, vacations. I remember one time some of my coworkers on a project got a free vacation to the Bahamas. Do you know how hard that made other people work on other projects because they saw what other people got on another project? So they're like, well, shit, since we getting bonuses like that, let me get it. Or you getting a profit sharing bonus. Your CEO is saying, listen, we made so much money this year. I want you to share in the wealth. We also added X amount of percentage of additional profit sharing into your 401k. Because we want you to feel this joy with us and to share it in the success with us. That causes your employees to make more money for you, not less. Oh, they don't stop having Christmas parties. Child, because they cheat. I have a YouTube. Check the link in my bio. I have a YouTube. I have a Patreon. I have a Spotify. Just check the link in my bio. You guys can find everything you need there. Thank you so much for your support. Do you think the changes in employment, school, and taxes may also have to do with changes in racial? Yes. Okay. I always tell people, America will gaslight you, right? And it'll say racism don't exist. And I always say this. If racism doesn't exist, you tell me why so many people, not all of white America, but specifically a certain population in white America work so hard to keep the system in place. Hey, Shamonia. Because even they don't want to be at the bottom of that system, right? Think about it. If minorities got all the free shit that people claim they got, wouldn't you want to be a minority? Wouldn't you want to be one of those people to get all that free shit all the time? But magically, they don't want to be one of those people. I wonder why. Because even they know that bullshit ain't true. That's why I be like, man, I don't listen to that bullshit they talk. Because if you thought that my black ass gets a whole bunch of free shit because I'm black, well, why don't you want to get free shit? Because you know I don't get no free shit. You know the only thing America give me for free is a headache. Stop it. It's like misogynistic men who say, man, women get it easy. Women got it all easy. They get all the free stuff. Well, wouldn't you want to be a minority? Of course they don't. Because these are the same people in the same circles who say, women are taking over everything. It's not even a safe space for me to be a man. Wait a minute, but that makes you a minority. Wouldn't that mean you get more stuff? That's why I don't be listening to that shit. They're full of shit. They're full of shit. It's lies that they tell, and they try to gaslight you so that you'll keep the system going. They want you to maintain the system. That's what it's all about. Just enough. Just keep it going. Status quo. Just keep it going. That's all it's about. That's why I don't pay no attention to that, y'all. That shit is propaganda to me. And I gave you a hymn. But I remember the days of working for companies, and it was like beautiful. So much money, so many bonuses, so much, because companies wanted to get the talent, and they knew in order to get talent, finance, what they say, no romance without finance. I told y'all, that's why I'm kind of, the way I see job hunting and dealing with companies is like being a free agent in a professional sports league. Think of yourself as a free fucking agent. You don't hold conversations with companies that don't at least pay your minimum. Athletes don't. They don't even entertain discussions with teams that ain't even at their minimum that they looking at. If you can't even meet my minimum salary requirement, I'm not going to waste my time talking to you. It's a waste of time. Because talking to you might have you think you got a shot. You do not. I always used to tell people, because my family like whole milk and they like real cheese. Nope. So if you don't have a certain minimum, we not holding a telephone conversation. We not talking in email. None of that. You already told me that you cheap and you don't want to pay money. You don't want to invest in people. Well, guess what? I invest in me. And if you don't pay me enough money to invest in myself, I have no desire to invest in your business with my resources and my skills. Nope. That's how you have to see yourself. Your skills and your talents are resources that the companies that hire you use. They leverage that shit. They need to pay you to leverage that shit. Otherwise, you just giving up those things for free to these people. And you don't have to do that. Yeah, see, Vonetta, you ain't never think about it like that. They don't want you to. They want you to think those companies are doing you a favor. How are you doing me a favor when you leveraging my skills and abilities? You leveraging my talent, skills, and abilities for this shit. There's no way for you to make this money and make this stuff happen if I'm not here. Because you need people to make it happen. See, rich people are salivating over AI, but the truth of the matter is they still never going to ever be able to make money without people. Because computers fuck up. So you need human oversight to ensure computers aren't giving away shit. See, people, you can indoctrinate people. People are more obedient than machines, frankly. Think about it. People are more obedient than machines. It's hard to get a machine to be disobedient, but people will be so obedient. You know what I mean? People will be so, they'll just keep their head down and work and make money, because I don't want to upset the rich people because I might lose my job. You are the resource. Stop letting these rich people make you think you're not. Once you start to realize that and you lean into knowing who you are, it's going to change how you navigate. I just saw a crazy story. Y'all remember Dale Earnhardt? Well, his widow and the son are battling over a $30 billion data center that's on Dale Earnhardt's North Carolina land. See, money corrupts. I keep saying, can I explain black fatigue? It doesn't exist. I can tell you that. One thing about black people, we ain't never tired. But I can tell you who is mediocre white folks. Bye. You tried it, beloved. I let you hear my explanation before I booted you. Hey, oh, hey, oh. See, you got to get up a little quicker you got to get up earlier in the morning to get something on me. See, that was an example of mediocrity. That person was mediocre. My ass is exceptional, see? So I was ready for it. See, it's nothing. It's easy. It's nothing. See, when you're exceptional, you know how to pivot. When you're mediocre, you have a hard time with pivoting because you lack the skills and ability to pivot. You lack the skills and ability to pivot. But those of us who were taught how to pivot, see, those of us who were raised a long time before, we were taught to pivot. Why? Because when you grow up with not having access to certain things, you got to learn to pivot. Thank you, Yugi. I always tell them I ain't new to it. I'm true to it, though. They just so funny. Again, there's no such thing as black fatigue. People who say it's black fatigue, you know what I hear when I hear that? I am tired of feeling mediocre by your black ass. Because sometimes just walking in a room, understand, if your mere presence can make somebody else feel inadequate, that means you're doing something right, beloved. Just so y'all know. Just so you know. Okay? If your presence makes somebody feel inadequate, that means you're doing something right, baby. You said, Narcs, thank you so much, Latrell, for the subscription. I appreciate the support. Beautiful. I really do. Brandy, you said Narcs are easy to control. Yep, you're right. And a lot of MAGA are narcissists. But a lot of them can't spell narcissistic or narcissism. I'm just telling you. Because a lot of them think that the sun don't come up until they open their eyes. See, I wasn't raised like that. I was raised that whether I open my eyes or not, that sun is still going to come up. All right? I was raised to don't think your shit don't stink. And also understand there always could be somebody better than you. So you need to grind and make sure you handle your business. And that I was a reflection of how I was raised. I was a reflection of my family. So many people don't want to be honest about that because they got parents and stuff. And so they don't want to be able to say you're a reflection of your family. Well, if you're raised well, you're okay with that. Thank you so much, Dwayne, for listening and watching. I appreciate that. And I want to remind you all to check out the newest episode of the Straight No Chaser podcast that dropped yesterday, right? Where I talked about in that episode about how the Supreme Court is attacking voting rights. The Supreme Court they're attacking voting rights. And you need to pay attention to that. There's a reason why they're doing what they're doing. And it's not an accident. I keep telling y'all, none of this shit is an accident, especially in Washington. There's no such thing as a coincidence. Everything on purpose. Everything. So check out that episode. I also, one of the more popular episodes, something that's actually surprised me, helping people remember about finding your joy, man. Don't let Trump and them steal your joy. Don't let Trump and them steal your joy, because let me tell you something. When people think that they can steal your joy, their entire focus is what can I do to keep you in a dark place? So check out episode 24 as well, where I tell you how to reclaim your joy for free. I'm not charging you anything to listen to it, okay? Understand, it's no plot. It's me telling you for free how you can reclaim your joy. Joy you can have, but you got to be deliberate to have joy. Happiness is shit that happens by accident. Joy is on purpose. Okay? So I tell you how you can reclaim your joy for free. Things you can do on your own time to reclaim your damn joy. See, a lot of this shit is a mindset. When people think that they can destroy you, when they think that they can oppress you enough to ruin your mindset, they'll keep doing it. Don't let them do that. This is why I tell y'all don't let people live rent free in your head, because that's what I was taught. Bye, Ryan. Don't nobody care what you got to say, beloved. We're not even on that no more. People who want to protect and keep and make excuses for the Epstein files and all that stuff, they don't protect children. So I don't listen to that. I'm not in circles with people who don't want to protect kids, who want to make excuses. That's not my bag. I'm not into that. Y'all can keep that. Yeah, you can keep that. Hey, Masala. But I want to say thank you all for joining me today. I appreciate your support. You know I always do. Oh my goodness, how our likes jumped that fast. Thank you. We got 116,000 likes. I can't see the number of shares, but I know we got quite a few shares today. Thank you so much for all of the shares. Thank you the most for your time. What do I tell you? Your time is an important commodity. Don't waste it on people, places, and things that don't deserve it. Because once you spend that time, you don't get it back. There's no such thing as earning more time. You can earn more money, but you can't earn more time. Right? So be mindful about what you invest your time in, okay? And don't forget to check out the Straight No Chaser podcast. New episodes happen several times a week. I'm going to have a new episode drop tomorrow too. And for those of you in the community circle, you got about 14 additional audio notes and topics that I talk about that are more unfiltered. That conversations we can't have on TikTok because, you know, TOS. Rules and everything, like they say. Also, if you want to learn more about Trump and the Epstein stuff, go check that stuff out. It's right there in my Patreon. And that stuff's accessible to everybody, no matter what tier you're on. Because I want you to see it. You understand? So before I wrap up today, because I do this in every live, I want to give a shout out to my top 5 gifters. I thank you all for the gifts, no matter how big or how small. Just know that I do appreciate it. Understand? Because as expensive as shit is here, like my mama used to say, look, she would say, what they say, groceries are higher than giraffe kitty cat. Listen. So I understand, I respect and appreciate everything that y'all do to support me and what I'm doing. So I appreciate that. And I'm hoping I would ask you to continue to share the podcast and stuff like that, because getting it out there can wake more people up. Because that's the thing. A lot of America needs a damn wake up. Barack Obama came along and woke up America. Y'all got to wake up again. Y'all got sleep. Y'all got comfortable. Barack made you comfortable. Wake the fuck up, okay? Wake up, please. Now, I want to send a shout out to these top 5 gifters. Number 1, handsome Russ Nelson. Thank you so much, Russ. Number 2, beautiful My Dog is Charlie. Number 3, beautiful Kiana Black. Number 4, beautiful Scorpio Girl. Number 5, beautiful Dude. Thank you so much for coming up today, beautiful, and sharing your story and perspective. And a special shout out to number 6, Miss Vonetta. Thank you so much, Vonetta Kelly. I appreciate your support. I thank you all so much. I'm going to see you in the morning on Sunday. Don't forget, on Sundays, though, I don't do an evening live. Because you know why? You know why? Because I'm domestic, unlike some conservative ladies. I cook, I have laundry, I have to clean. So I got shit I got to do Sunday evening, afternoon. See what I'm saying? I got things I got to do. Also, check out my Substack. I'm also on Substack, too, and do written commentary over there, because I enjoy doing the written commentary as well. Thank you all so much for joining me. I'm going to see you tomorrow morning. I want you to have a beautiful and safe Saturday. Don't forget to do that. And don't be giving these people your money if you ain't got to. Don't be paying full price out here if you don't need to, okay? I love you guys. And I'm going to tell you like I always tell you. Don't let nobody live rent-free in your head. Don't feed the trolls. And you can accomplish anything you put your mind to as long as you stay consistent. Peace, you guys. I'll see you in the morning. Love you. Have a great